This is the KRMG Afternoon News with Skylar Cooper.
Go ahead, give it to me.
It's time for the BA Breakdown here on the KRMG Afternoon News. It's a segment we do every Tuesday, just about this time after 5 o'clock, where we chat live with Broken Arrow's city manager, Michael Spurgeon. And he joins us live from BA. Michael, how are you doing?
Skylar, I'm doing great. I've been excited to visit with you all day because there's so many positive things that are happening in our city right now. And not sure what you want to talk about, but I'm ready to get started.
Sure. Well, there was something I've been chomping at the bit to ask you about since Friday when we got news that the police chief, Brandon Berryhill, is going to be retiring from BAPD. I know he's served the department in the city for many years, and you appointed him. You hired him as chief, I guess, probably not long after you got here, right?
I did, actually. When Brandon retires, he'll have served 7 years with the city as the chief of police, and I had the privilege to be able to hire him back in 2017. And when he told me that he was going to be leaving, I had a lot of mixed emotions because, number one, I'm happy for him and where he is in his career, and he's ready. Him and his wife, Sheris, are ready to move on to the next chapter of their lives. And but also disappointed because I believe he's done a really, really good job for our city of continuing that tradition of making sure that Broken Arrow is a safe community.
So that's a big task. We just went through this in Tulsa, where Mayor G.T. Bynum had to pick a new chief just before he was leaving office, and now our second largest metro is doing the same thing. How do you approach that? Are you going to be looking internally primarily, or what are your criteria when picking a police chief?
Well, we have a council manager form of government. So in this form of government, the decision to hire all of the directors, which include the chief of police, is the responsibility of the city manager. And so what I'm going to be doing is early next week, I'll be meeting with Kelly Cox, our HR director, and Norm Stevens, our assistant city manager of administration, who oversees the police and fire departments for me, and to talk about the national search that we're going to do to find the next chief of police for the city of Broken Arrow. And that search will include any internal candidate that's interested that meets the qualifications to be able to apply for the position. And then we'll do a national search. We'll sit down. We'll select a firm that has experience in hiring chiefs of police and find out some of the latest trends that are going on in terms of recruitment and hiring and what is necessary. And we'll put together the job description. And my hope is to have that out probably in the next 30 days or so we can begin the recruitment. And I would really love to be able to have someone on board on the job by the end of this year, if not sooner.
Oh yeah, right. I believe Chief Berryhill's leaving in October or so. So yeah, you've got a little bit of time.
We do. We talked about him staying. I needed him to stay because he's got some great initiatives going on, especially the Real-Time Crime Center and some things that he wants to get done. And he graciously agreed to stay on to complete that and several other important projects and make sure there's a real smooth transition. Also, we got Scott Bennett over there, the deputy chief of police that knows what's going on. So, like I said, I'm excited for Brandon. I'm excited for Broken Arrow to have this opportunity, but he's done a great job, and I look forward to talking about more as we get closer to his retirement.
Broken Arrow City Manager Michael Spurgeon with us on the KRMG Afternoon News for the BA Breakdown. I was going to ask you about some of the accomplishments that come to mind with Chief Berryhill in those 7 years. What are some things you're proud of that he's been able to accomplish for the police department in the city?
Well, to say you're one of only 9 chiefs that actually served the Broken Arrow community is an accomplishment itself. There's many things. I mean, he led this community in terms of public safety through the COVID, and that was no easy task. And we were meeting on a regular basis. Once again, the Real-Time Crime Center, the things that he's done with the body cameras to protect our officers and the integrity of the department, the license plate reader initiative that he's got going on, making sure that we're focusing on preventions, things as the fentanyl epidemic, as we're trying to get a handle on domestic violence, human trafficking. All of these things are the responsibility of the chief to advise me and the council about what we need to do to make sure that we're trying to be as proactive department as possible. And those are just a few of the things that he's done. And we have such a great department, a great group of folks that were able to implement those recommendations and decisions that he made.
Michael, I wanted to ask you about some things involving the roads. We talk a lot about traffic here on the BA Breakdown, and we got this open mic. Gentleman had a question about something he saw in traffic, and I got to admit, I'm confused. I don't know what he's talking about. Maybe you will. Let me play you that audio.
On 121st Street in Broken Arrow, there are black and white checkered boxes in the medians. What are those?
I couldn't picture it because most of that's kind of two-lane for a large portion of it. Do you know what he might be talking about, what those things are?
Actually, I do. what he's talking about is there's these markings or these boxes that are on the road themselves, and these are used in land surveying. And believe it or not, they help determine the road's elevation, so we can determine where the stormwater flow or runoff is happening off the surface of the pavement. In the middle of those boxes, there's this little mechanism, and you can't see it unless you get out. What happens is as the water runs over that mechanism, it collects the data to tell us exactly which way the water is flowing. And normally you put these down in connection when there's going to be future development. And I can share, without giving you specifics, is we're working on some economic development agreements right now to bring some additional retail commercial to the shops at Aspen Creek. And so it is exciting, and it's a great question. And so that's what those are.
Okay, great. In fact, I forgot to ask you if you know where they were. So it sounds like maybe east of Aspen, between there and Elm on 121st Street. And we've talked about that area before, so it's kind of exciting news.
Yeah, so they're out there on Tucson, right around the two entrances, essentially, to the shops of Aspen Creek.
Michael, thanks so much for joining us for the BA Breakdown. I look forward to talking with you next week.
Have a good week, my friend.